Baller Boys.
What's up, everybody?
Welcome back. Love and appreciate everybody coming back every week. Make sure you like, share, subscribe to the YouTube. Follow us on Instagram at Ohio Boys Productions, OHIO.
And on TikTok.
BOIS Productions. Yes, and you can follow us on TikTok as at the same thing, OHIO BOIS Productions. Other than that, welcome back. Thank you for coming back. Love you guys.
A lot has happened.
A lot has happened. Also, just want to say shout out to the Instagram people. Love the love you guys showed on the post. Loved it. Thank you. Appreciate it. But yeah, a lot has happened around the NFL. The
NBA just started.
James
Harden got traded to the Clippers.
And the first college football committee playoff ranking has come.
And guess who's number one?
The Dogs. The Dogs are number one.
OH.
IO. Listen,
right,
the Dogs are number one as usual. But so we're getting into the NFL real quick.
The NFL trade deadline just happened.
Yep.
Lots of moves happened. One of the biggest being Chase Young going to the freaking 49ers.
They don't even need it.
Why?
They don't even need it.
I can't believe the league keeps letting them get away with this.
I can, because my issue is this. If you're a team, and I get it, there's different teams go about things different ways.
Yeah.
But so I'm a Saints fan, and I think one of their issues very much is they have the same type of pass rusher in the sense of all their pass rushers are bull rush guys. They are defensive tackles that play the edge position. Their best, legit, I mean, the best compliment that they've had to Cam Jordan was a speed rusher in Trey Henderson who gave them a different flavor. Ladies and gentlemen, why in the world would you not go get that different swirl of ice cream?
Like the Browns in the past couple of years between Myles Garrett being that speed rush guy.
Yes.
And you pair him up with a Jadeveon Clowney or a Zadarius Smith who's
are
a strong
who's gonna, because again,
I'm gonna clog up a gap. I'm gonna get upfield with my head up type deal.
But now San Fran goes, and San Fran really, a lot of people are complaining. Oh, Nick Bosa's sack numbers are down this year. He's not looking as dominant. This is gonna change. This is gonna help change.
There's just less to deal with on their defensive line there for a second. Like, because they lost in the last year. They lost 2-3 first round pick talent defensive linemen.
I want to say first round.
Solomon Thomas.
So I don't think Solomon Thomas was a first round pick, but he was a really productive player.
They lost a lot of meat in the middle in the past couple of years. So naturally, it makes it easier for the offensive line to shade over to Bosa.
To be fair, they did pick up Hargrave this past offseason. And Hargraves is not anything to sneeze at. I think I'm pretty sure he led the Eagles in sacks last year. So it was like,
yes, sir.
It's not a bad thing. So I think looking at it, this is gonna help. One, this is gonna help Chase because he's a free agent after this year.
Well, and we're gonna see Chase Young on a good football team.
Yeah.
You hate to see these guys putting in work on teams that
I
stink.
think as an Ohio State fan, this is amazing. This is an amazing thing. This is the first time that these two will play together healthy at the same time. They didn't do that in college. Nick got hurt. So I think this is gonna be really good. I think it's gonna be really good for the Niners. I think that this shows that
it could have been good for so many other teams too. Like a second round pick for third round pick.
He was a third round
for
pick.
A top flight defensive end.
Crazy.
A top 10 pass rusher, maybe. I don't know. I haven't seen the stats, but
he's what? I think he has 5. He had like 5 sacks on the year.
Chase Young definitely passes the eye
pressures.
test. He definitely passes the eye test.
I get it because again, a lot of people are like, "Well, he's been hurt the past few years," and yeah.
And the Commanders weren't going to pay him. we all heard murmurs from Washington saying that they were going to trade him for at least 2-3 years at this point. Like right after his rookie year, they started talking about, oh, is he going to get traded?
I feel like it pretty much what happened there is one, they have two amazing defensive tackles in Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne. So it's like they paid both of them, and like those two guys are like that's a lot of money, and they were paying Montez Sweat at the time.
They also traded him.
They also traded him, but to pay edge, 2 DTs, and to probably have to pay another edge a lot of money. Hey, I get it. It's hey, that's a lot of money invested into your D line. That's a lot of money.
My favorite move. Shout out to the Eagles, going to get a Pro Bowl safety, Kevin Byard.
It was a nice move, very
for a
nice
bag
move.
of chips.
Yeah.
That was the biggest hole on that defense. Now that you have a top flight safety in the league,
They could
so
have
to
just
speak,
kept Gardner Johnson.
they could have, but the man also tore his ACL.
He tore his ACL.
I thought he tore his ACL.
No, he got hurt, but he's coming back. He's coming back this season. He's coming back for the Lions.
All right, well.
Could have just kept him.
They could have. And the Eagles always do this thing where they skimp out on the secondary and they get the strongest, beefiest defensive tackles they could find and the strongest defensive ends they could possibly find. Got a lot of weight room pushing on that defensive line.
To be fair,
They don't do anything with the linebackers, and then they usually have a safety that can hold it down.
To be fair, like the D line is just like that. That there is just they haven't paid any of those people.
No, because they're all on rookie deals.
The only person that they've paid, I think, is what Fletch
has been there for his
Graham
entire career.
and Hassan Reddick are the only ones
but those
that
guys
have any
been
real
there
money.
Those guys have been there for years.
This is Reddick's second year. This is Reddick's second year. I think this is.
But I mean, they brought him in.
Yeah,
he was a vet. They liked him from the beginning, so it made sense for them to extend him. Plus, he doesn't put up huge numbers, so he's I wouldn't say cheap, but cheap.
Last year he put up great numbers.
For a defensive tackle, he's cheap. He's
who? Hassan Reddick is edge rusher.
Yeah, I'm saying for market value for an edge rusher, he's cheap, and he's productive. The only thing they were missing when they didn't re-sign CJ, they had a hole in the safety position.
Yeah.
Their defenses thrive off of a steady hand at the safety position, and Epps wasn't doing it. So they went out and got Kevin Byard. You know, they need that Malcolm Jenkins type dude who's
that can clean it up.
That can clean it up. If they get past the defensive line, you know, they invested in one corner.
They got two corners, James Bradbury,
but James Bradbury isn't a crazy investment. Darius Slay they invested in.
Yeah, I understand what you're
Bradbury's good enough to play, but they're not drafting corners. They draft safeties, they draft defensive tackles, and the rest of the draft capital goes on the offensive side of the ball for the most part. So it was a great move. You're gonna see a classic Philly defense once Kevin Byard gets up to speed.
The crazy part is I don't know what week that the Niners play the Eagles, but that's gonna be a really good game.
Also, this week,
Dallas
Cowboys, Eagles.
Yep,
best rivalry in football.
I don't think football. How to say this?
This is the best rivalry in the NFL.
I say, but NFL rivalries aren't that crazy.
But this one is though. This has a Red Sox, Yankees.
I wouldn't say that. I would honestly say this may sound kind of crazy or biased. I think Baltimore Browns or
that's another great rivalry.
Saints Falcons. Because Saints listen. Saints Falcons, those teams actually do not like one the other. They don't. There's no cross
Yeah,
pollinating
but
there.
Tyler, are the fans getting in fights and trying to choke each other out in the stands?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Disrespectful.
But there's
Disrespectful
been
as
no
fuck.
more competitive rivalry than the Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys because those two teams are always in
I
contention.
disagree with that. 'Cause
They're
I feel
always in
like
contention. These two games usually signal who's going to win the division and who's going to run
I
shit.
think every rivalry in the AFC North is as good, if not better than.
But they're
better
not-
than that
they're not.
rivalry. Because think about it.
No,
If
take your
you
bias
look
out of
at
it. Take your bias
the
out of it.
Ravens are the Browns. Cincinnati are the Browns. The only team in the division that isn't the Browns are the Steelers, and they've ran the division for so long. And I think I really have to say is I think the rival. Also, I think
There's nothing
I think
better.
Dallas Washington is just as good.
No. That hasn't been a competitive rivalry in decades.
That's a lie. 2020.
When's the last competitive Washington team? Besides when they
2020.
were all 6-10 at that one year.
2020. Pretty sure. I'm almost positive
Tyler,
Washington.
look at the body
And the
of
crazy
work.
part is
Look
Washington
at the body
won
of
the
work.
division that year.
Look at the body of work
Shout out to
in
the Commanders.
this past decade. There's no two teams that have been closer in contention than the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. There's
The Cowboys
nothing
have never been in contention.
even ever since that Tony Romo, Donovan McNabb era, this rivalry has not stopped coming out with bangers. You got to admit that. Every single Cowboys and
I don't
Philadelphia
know.
Eagles game is a fucking marathon.
Ravens Steelers, I think, is better.
Okay, but it's not
Ravens
true.
Steelers is
No,
better.
because do you think Kenny Pickett can realistically beat?
But you said last decade. We're talking about the last.
Okay, so
10
you're going to
years.
bring up Joe Flacco versus Ben Roethlisberger? No.
Yes,
That's not a better rivalry.
It is.
Than Tony Romo versus Donovan McNabb or Mike Vick or Jalen Hurts versus Dak Prescott and these defenses. Brian Dawkins, Terrell Owens.
Okay, I can. Ray Lewis,
Westbrook.
Ray Lewis, Terrell Suggs versus Ryan Clark and fucking Troy Polamalu and James Harrison. Like, what are we talking about? What are we breaking down? Like, we're gonna be honest. Is like what? Like, if we're gonna be completely honest,
when you're looking at a complete football game, it's the Eagles and the Cowboys.
I
when
think
you're
it's
talking
Ravens
about
Steelers.
if you want to take a look
Ravens
back
okay.
into the
How do you say this?
1970s
Ravens
in a
Steelers
football
were
game,
like Ravens Steelers were like this. Who won this? Whoever won these were like Super Bowl contenders. The Cowboys and the Eagles weren't in the past decade. Only maybe two times
in the regular season
have ever
always
been
both
that
of these teams
serious.
in the regular season have always been considered Super Bowl contenders.
In like the past 3 years, yes.
No.
Yes, no one.
Besides the Eagles with the Chip Kelly era. Okay, I'll concede that.
No,
But
after
Andy Reid.
no
Skip
1 year. 1 year they were considered. 1 year they were considered like that.
No.
For the majority of our lifetimes, the Ravens and or the Steelers have had a Super Bowl type team. Ed Reed, Ray
And so
Lewis,
have the Eagles
Troy
and
Polamalu,
the Dallas Cowboys.
Troy Polamalu, and fucking James Harrison. Like no, like it's easily Ravens.
But those
Ravens,
offenses weren't
Steelers.
better. Those
It don't matter. The offenses were better.
You had
The team was better.
No.
The teams were better. They were hard hitting. They were knocking niggas out.
Better. I'm a Browns fan. I love watching the AFC North football. I love watching. It's sickening as it seems. It's something satisfying when some dude gets his head taken off in a football game.
That's so crazy.
But I think body of work, complete teams for the sake of it. I think Cowboys and Eagles are better, considering they had top flight offenses almost every time. They were always having very good records. The Ravens would be on a down year. The Steelers would be on an up year. They'd be going back and forth. There's not a lot of times where these teams were butting heads and actually trying to kill each other to win the division. especially in the tail end of Joe Flacco's career, right before he won the Super Bowl and right after. That 1 year he was good. Other than that, he was completely mediocre. Like, before there was a Kirk Cousins being the definition of a good NFL quarterback, it was Joe Flacco, and he was worse. Let's be real here. So this
Flacco
game
won the Super Bowl.
is going to be a slobber knocker.
I think
The Eagles.
I don't think it is. I think that there's going to be a boat race. I really do think there's going to be a boat race. I feel like
No, because I don't think points are going to be thrown around like you think they are.
I think they are. I think that the Eagles win this game pretty
Obviously.
handily. Is this in Philly or is this in Dallas?
I'm not sure.
Because depending on where it's played is
don't
gonna
think-
make it is gonna make it is gonna make it whether or not how close or sideways it is. Honestly, if this is in Philly, if this is in Philadelphia, I think the Cowboys get boat raced. I think they get boat raced pretty easily. I don't think
it's going to be as easy as you think.
Yes, I think that if this game is in Philly, I think the Cowboys are getting boat.
It's in Philly.
They're getting boat raced. I do mean it's about
The
an
betting
easy
the,
10 point
the betting
plus.
lines are giving 3 points to the Eagles, which is basically just you're a home team. So basically they're saying it's a crapshoot.
No, disagree. Hey, go bet the over. Like dead ass. Bet the over because
It's set at 47. That's a really low
how do I
number.
say this? I think the Cowboys, I think the Eagles put up I think the Eagles beat them about like by 10 or more. 10 or more.
I don't know about that because that defense is still good.
No, they're not. You're missing a whole one side of your field. Michael Parsons has showed that if he can't get his picks, he can't get to his spots, and he's playing a way better offensive line than San Fran had, because San Fran only has a left tackle. The Eagles have a left tackle, a left guard, a center, a right guard, and a left
The
tackle.
Cowboys are
and
not
a
going
right
to be
tackle.
able to run the football in this game.
So yeah, I think the Cowboys get boat raced. I think that this is I think we're looking at 35 to 14 type
Tyler,
of
you
game.
remember all that meat we were talking about earlier when we were talking about the trade deadline? Yeah, all that meat is going to be stuffing up Tony Pollard's will to live.
Yeah, I think this is a bad game. It's in Philly. I think I'm a Cowboys supporter. I think the Cowboys get way too much hate, but I think the Cowboys get boat raced this game.
I still think they're missing a receiver as well. I don't think their offense is complete. I think that their play calling is mediocre. Yeah, basically, fuck the Cowboys.
It's not fuck the Cowboys.
No, it's
Me.
big fuck the Cowboys.
It's not fuck the
It's
Cowboys.
big fuck the
Well, I'm
Cowboys.
talking about me.
Okay.
For me, it's
I'm
not
an
fuck
Eagles
the
fan,
Cowboys.
so big fuck
It's
the
just
Cowboys.
the Cowboys should have made a few moves at the
we
trading
wearing-
deadline.
Are we gonna wear
And
the Kelly
I
greens?
feel like this looks really bad. This is a bad game for the Cowboys. I think this is a really bad game for them. It's sad because I think the Cowboys.
Plus Kevin Byard.
I think the Cowboys get the Cowboys get too much hate. They don't deserve as much hate
No,
as they
because
get.
their fans are fucking annoying. That's why.
Because their fans are confident and they have belief.
This is our year. This is our year.
Yes, I don't think a fan base deserves to be called annoying or bad.
This is our year.
Because they have belief. There's a lot of fan bases who don't have belief, who don't have faith in their teams.
No, they're delusional. They think they
no,
win.
they have faith that their team can do it. Like how
But
how
they
you say this?
can't.
But they can though. But that's the
No.
thing, they can. I think that
I think their secondary is now ruined because now they have a gaping hole where
Trayvon Diggs
Trayvon Diggs was.
If Trayvon didn't go down with an injury, I think that the Cowboys are looking at a really good year.
They don't draft well.
They didn't. What? That's the only thing they do well.
No, they hit on some.
No, they hit on everything. Mark, most of their team are people they drafted. Most of their team, like almost 85% of their team, is because they drafted
the only
those
receiver
those players.
that's worth a damn is CeeDee Lamb.
Michael Gallup's not bad. He's not had a great year, but Michael Gallup's not bad.
He's not producing.
You can say that about Devontae Smith. Where has he been all year? He's been lackluster. Jalen Hurts has been lackluster.
They've been using him for big.
Like,
Jalen Hurts
no
has
offense,
been.
like, we're gonna be completely honest about it. Like, the Eagles have been very lackluster, but I do think that the Eagles are gonna boat race the Cowboys in Philly.
I think
I'm not gonna get that twisted.
I think the Eagles are also going to have a hard time running the football. They've been leaning on the run game the entire season to bail them out. DeAndre Swift has been very key weapon for them, and I don't think they're going to be able to get that off because just like the Eagles got meat in the middle, so do the Cowboys. These are very similar defenses. Very similar. The only place that the Eagles have an edge is the new addition of Kevin Byard at safety.
I don't know, and I only disagree with you only because I think that if you looked at what Christian McCaffrey did, I don't think they fixed up those holes. I think they've played bad competition.
But I don't
that has not been prepared to play.
Their issue isn't a talent issue.
I think their issue is a talent issue.
No, because they have the talent. They have guys that could do it, but they're just so.
Cowboys?
Yeah, the Cowboys are just so hungry to get that sack. It's like a Myles Garrett dilemma with Micah Parsons sometimes, where he's really drunk at going after the quarterback that sometimes he just doesn't play with his head up.
He's not. How do you say this? I think Micah Parsons is a great player, but I do think he's not that great. He can't. Let me say this. You can move Myles to the left or to the right, and Myles is going to do what Myles does. You can't do that with Micah. Micah can't be moved to the right or to the left and play great. Micah can only play great on one side, and that one side he has to stick to.
But, I mean, he doesn't have to move. You also have DeMarcus Lawrence.
D-Law hasn't done a lot. Like, D-Law hasn't really like, had a great game, and like you need him to have a great game. I do think Dak is a problem, and you need to really protect yourself from Dak at this point in his career.
But you do that running the football, and I don't think they're going to be able to do that.
You're not wrong. So that's why
Big Fletch is still there, and there's two dudes right behind Fletch in that rotation that look just like him.
And that's why I say the boat race is on. I think this is a boat race.
I don't know. I
think this is a boat race. I think they get done
I find
dirty.
it hard to believe that A.J. Brown is just going to be able to find ways to catch the football. I think Stephon Gilmore is going to give him fits. And it's really going to have to be
I have Devontae Smith against who?
It's going to have to be Dallas Goedert against Devontae Smith against the rest of the defense.
I'm about to say, like, Devontae Smith against who? Like, who's on the other side?
I don't even know his name. I'm not going to lie to you.
So,
who?
Moving into something else. We have the Browns. This past trade deadline, the Browns traded Donovan Peoples-Jones to the Lions. It's sad, but then at the same time, the way I look at it, it makes sense. He
wanted to play. He's not getting targets. He wanted to. He like it came down to they weren't going to pay him.
Yeah.
He wants the football in his hands.
He's a free agent this year.
Yeah.
It's like
we don't have the money to pay him even if we wanted to. So
I would say I think with the Browns, as sad as this may be, it's the right move.
I think it's a good opportunity.
I think it's shitty because you only got you got a 2025 6th-round pick.
That was shitty.
Like, whoa.
You couldn't find a better deal than that. Like, I understand, okay, he's not producing, but P.J. Walker's his quarterback, and Deshaun Watson has had a hard time this season. You can't really put that on the receivers. I mean, it's not like he's dropping balls like crazy. Donovan Peoples-Jones is not a dude that really gets separation. He's a dude that goes up and gets the football. He plays special teams. He blocks. He does all the nitty-gritty shit. And on top of that, he goes up and gets it. A fan favorite, it always sucks when a fan favorite gets traded. Because I also think a lot of people thought that when we traded him, we were making room on the roster for somebody to come in, especially when we heard a lot of rumors about the Browns looking for a receiver at the trade deadline.
They were not looking for a receiver. They weren't. Listen, I'm not surprised at anything the Browns did because I didn't think the Browns were going to do anything.
I
I'm
thought
more
they were
shocked.
I thought they didn't get an O lineman.
I didn't think that the Browns were going to bring anybody in. I didn't think I thought, like, in my honest opinion, I thought the Browns were going to stand pat. I thought the Browns were going to be like, listen, this team is what the team is. We're not going to do anything. We're going to play this how we play this. I was shocked that they moved off of Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Like, honestly, 2025 6th-round pick, you might as well just kept him on the roster.
Yeah. Being so serious.
Like, let's be real. A sixth round pick in 2025.
In 2
unless
years.
you plan to trade up with that pick, like
What are you doing?
that guy is a practice squad player.
Like, what are you doing? Like, that didn't make sense. The compensation was wild, but then at the same time, it's not even. I'll say this. I feel like it makes sense. You got a 6th rounder. It's just you got a 6th rounder in 2 years. You can't even use that when you next year. Like, that doesn't help you next year. So I think that's kind of wild that they only got a 6th round pick in 2025.
It's a great opportunity for some of your young guys to get some reps.
David Bell, Cedric Tillman.
Cedric Tillman is going. Like, it seemed like when they drafted him that he was going to be the Peoples-Jones replacement.
I think
he's a big body. He's not
a little bit faster.
Yeah, more of a 50-50-ish ball guy. He's strong. Seems like a red zone target. So like, that's really what you got in Cedric Tillman. It would be nice to get a little bit more energy out of the receiving core because it seems like a lot of complacency's happened over the past few years.
I feel like
besides Amari, you really haven't gotten a lot of production out of that room.
I feel like a lot of that is just the quarterbacks. Like, the fact that Deshaun hasn't taken on to the system that fast, and PJ Walker is the one throwing balls, and you haven't seen the production you've wanted to see from Elijah Moore.
The last full game that Deshaun played was so good.
Yeah.
So it's like we're sitting here like, okay, you saw that good game, but then the injury happens. We could have potentially got 3 or 4 more of those games at this point, and we would have been
especially against the
happy.
Competition that.
Yeah, like losing to the Colts probably wouldn't have happened.
I felt we didn't lose to the Colts, lost to the Seahawks.
I'm sorry, losing to the Seahawks probably wouldn't have happened.
I felt like the thing that I would say is this: if you're a Browns fan and you're worried and you're like, why don't they go get a quarterback? Why don't they sign a quarterback?
No, we're not. What they were asking for Jacoby Brissett was asinine. They wanted a 2nd or a 3rd round pick.
It's not even that. It's more about I don't think the team knows when Deshaun is coming back. And if the team doesn't know when Deshaun's coming back, it makes no sense for the team to go out there and draft a quarterback. If it's more than 4 or 5
weeks, your season's probably boned.
I wouldn't say that. I think that if it's more than 4 or 5 weeks, you should have already had a quarterback come in. You should have already traded and had all that situated. He should have been on IR.
Yep.
It's just.
I mean, you still have options out there.
Not really good ones though.
We're talking about backup quarterbacks here, Tyler.
Yeah, but it's also we're talking about backup quarterbacks, but then we're also talking about quarterbacks that went through camp, that they're used to making throws and all this other stuff. As much as you want to shit on PJ Walker went through camp with the Chicago Bears.
I think if Kevin Stefanski can just get in his head about decision making, we'll be fine.
Ladies and gentlemen, so me and Mark, before the show, we were talking about things and when we think Deshaun could possibly come back. Right
now, he's a limited participant in practice, and he is throwing.
Personally, if you ask me, I think that this game, if he does not play for the Cardinals, which is not likely, if he does not play for the Cardinals, I don't think he comes back for the Baltimore game. I think he comes back for the game
after Pittsburgh.
So we're looking at, I think that's Chicago. If not Chicago, I think it's, give me a second. It's the Broncos. I think that there's a very strong possibility that he comes back for the Broncos game. That game is on the road. Yep. If he does not come back for the Broncos game because it's a road game, he probably doesn't come back until the Jaguars, and that's their next home game.
I mean, that's also fine.
Yeah.
Personally, once you get past that Jaguars game, without him playing, he's probably
not coming
done.
back. Not coming back. If he doesn't come back by the Jaguars game, he's probably done for the season. And it sucks. It's sad. I still think that this team competes for a playoff spot
because this team is special.
It's a really good team.
The defense is special.
And a lot of 1 years.
And the offensive line is coming back to form a little bit. There's improvements on the offensive side of the ball. I don't know if it's, people are rallying around P.J. Walker or if Stefanski's kind of tightening it up a little bit, but it seems to come together. The run game is starting to pick up a little bit with Kareem Hunt and Pierre Strong looked great when he was running. Jerome Ford, say what you want about the guy, but he's broken off a bunch of runs himself. Like, there's ways to win.
3. No, we're not going to do that. Pierre Strong is the better running back. Kareem Hunt's the better running back.
He looked really good.
Jerome Ford, you're bad.
Pierre Strong looks like he's got a second and a third
Ford,
gear.
fuck you. Sad.
Pierre Strong looks like he's got a second and a third gear.
All my friends have yelled at me and said that I was a goober and I was wrong, and you haven't played like that, and I haven't rubbed it in their face yet.
I don't think Jerome Ford's terrible. I just think
he's
special. We've been spoiled with Nick Chubb.
Boo.
Spoiled.
Boo.
Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt were top 10 running backs. And Nick Chubb is probably the best running back. We're not going to argue about this.
I'm not saying anything. You're
the
one that's
when I say that.
angry.
No, when you say that, okay. But
You're the one
bottom line is we've been spoiled with a lot of talent in the past few years in the wide receiver core and the running back room. So this is the first time since we drafted Nick Chubb where you need to see running backs kind of putting their game together. I think Kareem Hunt helps that. I think the run game, this team is going to look a lot like the Baker Mayfield torn labrum season in 2020, that type of offense. Because you had
2021.
I'm sorry, 2021. You're going to have that type of offense because you need to minimize the amount of times P.J. Walker throws the football. I think at this point, when you're throwing the ball with P.J. Walker 30-plus times a game, I think you're guaranteed multiple picks in the game.
Honestly, I feel like this is a thing, right? I feel like they're more about when do we bring back Deshaun, not if he comes back. I really do feel like they're like, all right.
Well, because you want to bring him back and build confidence as well. You don't want him to like his shoulder might be fine, but like his confidence is a little shaken because of he looked really bad in the Indianapolis game, those 5 throws he had, and then he got hit again. So coming back to Arizona or what was it?
Broncos.
The Broncos or the Jaguars. I'm not putting them out there against possibly the best defense in the NFL. A very scary defense in the Ravens and one of the best pass rushes in the NFL in the Pittsburgh Steelers as well. I don't think I want to put him in those positions to gain confidence because those are going to be rough games to come back from.
Honestly,
it's the same reason why Kyler Murray's probably not going to play against the Browns.
I feel like honestly, if I'm the Browns, I bring him back for the Pittsburgh game. I feel like one, if he's fully healthy and he's ready, you get the right or wrong. That no offense, some of those defensive points that the Steelers scored weren't his fault. That pick, that strip, that was not his fault. Everyone
Jed
saw.
Wills got fucking blown up.
I'm gonna say, Jed Wills, what the fuck were you doing? And then that pick six that happened on the opening drive. That ball hit Harrison Bryant in the hands.
Every time he gets himself into more opportunities.
No, we're not about to sit here and shit on.
Harrison Bryant does this.
No, we're not about to
really good.
We're not about to sit here and shit on Harrison Bryant.
No,
Harrison
he's
Bryant's
like the Andre Drummond of the
Harrison
Cleveland
Bryant's
Browns.
a really good player. No,
he's a good player until he fumbles or the ball bounces off his hands in a key situation. Like, honestly, Tyler, he shows so much promise, and then he does something that completely dicks over the game immediately. I don't understand it. Some guys are just not made to have a lot of opportunities in the NFL.
I feel like if Deshaun comes back, he should come back. At first, I would say, like, unrealistic. He comes back this game. He comes back to the game that will be on Sunday. He comes back for the Cardinals.
It depends. If he's upgraded.
If he doesn't come back, the first game I will look for him back would be the Steelers game. It's at home, and it's before you have, I think it's like a two game road trip. If he's not back, I don't think they're going to bring him back on the road. I think that his first game back will be a home game. And if you don't bring him back for the 2-game room,
I don't think that matters. I don't think it matters if it's a home game or an away game.
I think it matters. I think that it's
I think you're
to show
more
confidence.
concerned about the team that he comes back to. I'm not putting him out there against the Ravens because he's going to go and his confidence is going to be bursted. He's going to be hit and battered, so he's going to be thinking about his shoulder the entire game. Not putting him out there if he doesn't play this week.
I think it matters, and I think it matters only for the simple fact that you're not just trying to show to, because it's one thing to show just like, let's say, the media, but you're trying to show that to the fan base, we're good, we got this corrected, everything is fine. So I think that realistically they don't want to just show out on the road and people watch it on TV. They want to show it to a full stadium. No, we got this. Trust us. Everything is going to be fine. I really do think that it's just kind of a big PR thing of we are here and we are okay. Do not worry. Do not panic. We are good.
We're pretty good at panicking.
We are good at panicking, but I think the organization wants to show do not panic. Trust us.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what the fans think. As much as we think our opinions matter, it doesn't. It really doesn't. As long as the organization,
if you don't buy their shit, if you don't buy these tickets, they're gonna be hurt.
We're gonna buy the tickets regardless.
No, we're not.
Tyler, we bought tickets during 0-16. We're buying tickets.
No, I didn't.
Tyler, they still had season ticket holders. People were still showing up at the stadium at 0-16. They were damn near sold out. 0-16.
Stop 1-31. Bad teams. Stop supporting bad teams.
Then we wouldn't have any sports teams in Cleveland.
Damn.
Speaking of bad, the Cavs.
No. I don't want. I want to stay on football.
I want to stay on football.
I want to stay on football. I think that we wrap this up. Just stick on football for right now. We can do a big basketball talk next episode. You cool with that?
That's fine. Hopefully the Cavs' luck changes.
Ladies and gentlemen, the college football playoff committee has come out.
give me some. What do we tell you?
The college football playoff committee has come back and they have put out their first ranking, and with the first ranking, they have placed Ohio State at number one. Number two is Georgia. Number 3 is Michigan. Number 4 is Florida State. Number 5 is Washington.
Is
and
USC
number
ranked?
6 is Oregon. USC is ranked. They're ranked in the 20s, but they're ranked.
I'm sorry. I had to chuckle there.
That's fine. So, pretty much.
Roll Tide. Oh, wait.
If you watch any major anything, pretty much, what they are saying is the reason why Ohio State is ranked number 1 is because of who they've played.
We played the toughest game so far.
We have the toughest record.
Out of the top 5
strength of schedule.
Yeah. And especially since Notre Dame put in some work and they beat USC, right?
That, and then it helped that
because
Penn State's ranked 11.
Notre Dame went on a skid there after, people were down on them after we beat them the way that we did. But them beating USC props them back up and helps Ohio State's strength of schedule.
So, right now, looking at it, USC is ranked 20, Notre Dame is ranked 15, and Penn State's ranked
as it stands, Tyler, where's Michigan? Number 2? 3.
No, yeah, 3.
I think as it stands, you might see 2 Michigan versus Ohio State games this year.
I think that as it stands,
Especially if Ohio State loses and they maintain number 1 in the country for the rest of the season and then lose at the end, I don't think they're kicking them out of the playoffs if we lose to Michigan.
I think that they are. I think that
no, because who do you prop up?
Oregon or Washington. Washington's undefeated. Florida State, it looks like Florida State's going to go undefeated.
I think they would still put Ohio State at 4 if we lost to Michigan.
It depends what happens. Again, I think personally, I think it would depend on what happens. Championship weekend, do you have something that happened last year in the sense of does Washington lose in its championship games? In its championship game, does Florida State lose in its championship game? Like again, I do think a lot of it would just come down to do these teams like what happens?
Isn't Florida State in the SEC?
Florida State's in the ACC.
ACC.
And
so what? Notre Dame? No,
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame doesn't play in the bowl.
Yeah, they don't have a conference. So personally, what I'm looking like, if you're Ohio State, it's clear, went out. I think that Ohio State will drop from number 1 to maybe number 2, if not number 3, because Michigan, those cheating ass niggas, bitch ass niggas up north.
Hey, I don't give a fuck. Y'all cheated. Y'all got caught again.
Probably. It looks like because of who they do play late in the season.
Touch on these allegations a little bit. I think it's bullshit that they took Michigan wins from Ohio State for some motherfuckers trading merch for tattoos. That's crazy. And y'all think you shouldn't lose any wins? Y'all shouldn't vacate anything?
I feel like personal opinion.
Fuck you.
Personal opinion, I would just say I would like to see the investigation play out a little bit more. Because, to be fair,
this is the first
time. A lot of wild things have been coming out in this investigation.
Like what?
That somehow, some way that this guy who's being investigated for this was somehow on I think it was like a Western or like Eastern Michigan sideline, and they were in the Eastern Michigan or whatever the team that he was suspected of being on the sideline for that wasn't Michigan was playing like Wisconsin or somebody or Michigan State or somebody. So I do think there's a lot of
even
wild.
In the stands.
Yeah, he's not even in the stands. He's on the sideline. So again, there's a lot of wild things being said.
And they did some dumb shit. Like they got Venmo receipts, Cash Apps, like text messages. Like these guys are stupid.
I don't think anything happens to the. I don't think anything. I just want to say this.
You need to vacate some wins.
I do not think anything happens to the coach. I don't think anything happens to the team until after the season ends, because again, a lot of smarter people, a lot of more well-read people than me have said it and have said it very simply. There's a lot of money at stake for the Big Ten if they were to do anything that would hinder and or punish Michigan.
No, I don't think it's a death penalty. There's nothing.
No. I
think
vacating
wins doesn't affect the team at all.
No. I think if this is really, if this is really real, or this is a real big thing, I think they get hit with the death penalty. I think that they have scholarship strips. I think that Harbaugh will be out of a job. I don't think it's
that serious.
No.
I think the worst part is if they figure out Harbaugh knows and he lied to them again.
I think
then
even if he
doesn't
know about it, I think that this team gets hit with something massive, something crazy.
If he does know about it,
look at what
happened.
Him. Look at what has happened with USC for the past 3 to 4 years before Lincoln Riley got there, and how they had very limited scholarships. I think you're looking at something like that. I think you're looking at maybe something a little bit worse than that. That this team will be relegated to darkness.
This would be the first death penalty
truly shadow banned, truly sent to the shadow realm
since I think the Buckeyes got the death penalty.
The Buckeyes didn't get the death penalty. They couldn't compete because they didn't have.
They took away scholarships. We weren't allowed to be bowl eligible. That was a death penalty.
No, because USC had it worse. I think it's like SMU.
Okay, but USC did much worse things as far as, like handing money to recruits and stuff like that. I get, okay, everybody does it, but you got caught. It's much worse than just trading some merch for some tattoos. I'm just baffled. Like, we'll see how the NCAA will handle this. I think 3 or 4 years ago, before this whole NIL thing happened, and the NCAA really had the grips on the organization of college football, this may not have been as much of a big deal. But now they're, I think, looking for something to happen for them to regain control of these schools and what's happening. They're feeling college football slipping away from a student-athlete run organization to something of basically a minor league NFL. And that's exactly what they don't want. They want to keep the integrity of the student-athlete, and I think they hate...
It's all going away.
They're looking for a reason to flex their muscles on something, and I think this is it.
I feel like one of the things, there are a lot of people that want to get rid of the NCAA. I think getting rid of the...
I think that's dumb, by the way.
I think getting rid of the NCAA is a very dumb thing because they aren't just governing football. And the biggest reason why a lot of people want to get rid of the NCAA is because of football and or men's basketball. But they do so much more than just govern 2 sports.
They govern...
For men. They govern every sport there is in college.
Even
in college and in high school. If you
take away football and basketball revenue from the NCAA, it'll virtually just crumble. That organization is run off those 2 sports revenue.
Yeah. But then again, that's the issue is you need the NCAA because they're not just running off of they're not just running those 2 sports. They're running everything in the middle: swimming, track
and field,
fucking
softball,
all that, baseball. All those things are things that are ran collegiately and at the high school level by the NCAA. So all this push of we should get rid of the NCAA, it makes no sense.
You're gonna
cripple
the entire sports industry.
Exactly. Who's gonna control those sports? Olympic sports at that. Like these, like as much as you want to say, football is funny. And men's basketball here is funny. That some of these sports are Olympic sports.
No, I don't think men's basketball is
no
the only.
At certain schools, men's
basketball I think is the only sport that breaks even. Football is the only one that makes money, and everything else loses money.
No. At certain, depending on the school, like
I'm
Kentucky.
I'm talking about as a whole.
As a whole, I think men's basketball makes money. As a whole, everything together. Men's basketball typically
I think most of the money that exchanges hands
makes money.
Is private organizations, like betting. They do make a lot of money off of the March Madness media, but more money is being exchanged through like DraftKings or like MGM, like all these sports books.
I don't know, but I think
college football is making money off of its product.
I think that getting rid of the NCAA is a very bad thing, and is a very short-sighted thing just for people who want football to be dominant. There's other sports that Americans care about, and Americans like want to see those teams do well when it comes to things like the Olympics and other areas in the world. And I think getting rid of the NCAA, you very much hindered the chances of America and of those athletes of just doing what they need to do.
And I mean, I get
rid of the NCAA. Who's going to govern those other sports? Who's going to run those other sports?
I get like qualms that people have with the NCAA. Okay, restructure football or whatever. Like, we'll hear your relegation system theories and all that, reformatting the college football playoff, which they implemented. I
But
think it's
don't be
going in the
so
right direction.
don't be so short sighted and so like, well, football does this, football does that, and
Somebody's
then
got to run
forget
it.
about someone has to run all these other sports. Like the conference, no offense, but the Big Ten, the SEC, all these other conferences don't give a fuck about these other sports.
And they don't give a fuck about rules. Like,
So-
think about it. These teams are going to run wild if there's no code of ethics and a law book that they have to abide to anymore. They're going to go fucking nuts.
And then okay, let's just say you somehow create an NFL amateur league for football. What happens to the other sports once the NCAA is no longer there? Like, no offense, like, let's not be short-sighted. Let's actually think of a way to fix the NCAA so that way they can impose rules properly,
Yeah.
but also still exist at the same time.
Like NIL and
Like, how
is
do
a
we
huge
do
thing.
this?
They're starting to move in the right direction. Like, name, image, and likeness is number one. You should be able to make money off of your name and your brand. That is a huge step in the right direction. Reformatting the college football playoff to have 8 teams next year, it was a great decision. That's the perfect number. I think the reforming is happening, and realignment and stuff. Like, I hate to say it, but it's good for the sport having these big brands all congregating into one place, and then also having those.
Just going to become the SEC and the Big Ten. So sad.
Yeah, but I mean, essentially, you're putting out a better brand of college football. Like, how many Ohio State fans do you know, Tyler, that aren't diehards that don't watch every single game because we're playing a Rutgers or a Florida Atlantic or a Miami of Ohio? Like, people don't watch those games.
That's fair.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So putting out a better brand of football, I'm not necessarily going to blame the NCAA for that, because they're allowing teams to do it. They're allowing people to make names off their own brands.
But the conferences are also allowing it to happen, because if you look at it, if the conferences wanted to sit there and be like, listen, guys, we're not going to sit here and let you schedule three freaking like bum schools. Michigan, you can't have the bums you played in your non-conference. You have to go out and schedule 2 people from another
like
Power
Ohio
5
State's
conference.
scheduling Georgia. They're scheduling Notre Dame.
Texas.
Michigan had Notre Dame for a couple years, but they didn't replace it with anything.
Like, again, I think that Ohio State for right now is number 1, but later on in the season, because Michigan does play Penn State, they play Maryland, that there are chances for them to move up, if to not to number 2 to number 1. If you're Ohio State, you gotta win November 25th.
The only way I see Michigan jumping us is if Michigan beats the brakes off of Penn State. That's the only way.
And then it depends on what happens with Georgia. Like I do think that is a very big thing.
Like, at the end of their schedule, they still don't they still have to play?
They have to play Penn State. They have to play Maryland.
No, I'm talking about Georgia.
They're playing Mizzou coming up, and then that's pretty much after Mizzou they don't play nobody. Like, it's kind of a cakewalk after that.
No, they have to play Mississippi. They have to play Tennessee.
Who?
Tennessee's ranked 20th.
No, USC's ranked 20th.
I'm sorry, 19th.
Who?
Tennessee is a good team. They just lost to Bama.
Who?
The Vols. No, Alabama played Tennessee. Yeah.
Last year.
No, this year. They blew a lead this year.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Like, did you not see the pictures of the stadium in the Smoky Mountains, and all the Alabama fans were lighting cigars?
They weren't in the Smoky Mountains. They played this at home this year.
Oh, were they? I thought they were in Tennessee.
20-34.
They gave up. They had a 16 or something point lead, and they gave it up.
Hey, listen,
But
college football is in a very good spot where a lot of great things happening. Ladies and gentlemen, if Ohio State loses, I probably won't be on that next episode. Probably be sad in my house, crying, probably throwing up, something like that. But I don't think it will because I think Michigan, you guys are cheaters. You guys are cheaters. You're bad.
Every
you
team
never
cheats.
you never were
The
that
only
good.
reason why they're getting disciplined is because they potentially lied to the Big Ten and the NCAA.
You were never that good. Also, you cheated. You didn't just lie. You cheated. You lied about something else.
You didn't even hide
but
it.
you cheated.
You
Not just did you cheat. You really had to cheat to beat us.
like I'm confused. Why couldn't they just
you had to cheat to beat us for 2 years?
Why couldn't they just use
Every
tape?
Michigan fan, you're not good. 20 plus years of ass whooping. I mean, belt to ass repeatedly for 20 plus years, and you won 2 years in a row. You're not that good. You were never that good.
You're not that guy.
Calm down.
You're not that guy.
You're never that guy. Bad. Boo. Boo you. Your moms are disappointed. Your dads are disappointed. You niggas are ass.
We love that tradition.
And Coach Day got the energy on them.
And Tyler, we doing it
Coach,
during Friendsgiving again? With the beers and the turkey and the mashed potatoes.
Coach Day really is going. Like he angry.
The only thing is like Kyle McCord needs to pick it up a little bit.
Kyle doesn't need to pick it up, but he's young. It's his first year. I think Kyle has the best ahead of him.
As long as Travion's there to lean on, we'll be fine.
Other than that, we want to say thank you guys. We love you guys. Go Ohio State. We love Ohio State. Again, like, share, subscribe.
Instagram, TikTok, YouTube.
Ohio Boy Productions, OHIO.
BOIS.
Yes.
Give me some. That was crispy.
Other than that, thank you. Appreciate you. Love you. Have a good night.
Peace out.